This is part 4, working with forms. This is an extension of part 3. For this to make even more sense to you, I'd recommend watching it first, the part 3, and I'll leave a link to it in the description. In this video, we are taking our 3-part form and improving the navigation between the forms, making sure our data is relevant from each form to the next, and we place protections on our data entry fields when required and make sure our cursor ends up in the best place possible for our end user. My goal is to keep things as simple as possible. Too much complexity requires upkeep, and if you're a small business person, upkeeping your database is usually not on your daily to-do list. I'm interested in your requirements and suggestions to make our navigation the best possible. Every video I watch has hard-hitting messages to like and subscribe. I hope you will do so right now before you forget. Like and subscribe. Remember, no cost to subscribe and no cost to unsubscribe. Now let's get on with the video. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do a lot of the same stuff here. We're going to try and do it as quickly as possible. I'm just going to show you it there. But we're going to have some other issues that we need to do in regards to creating new records. Let's take a look at that. Okay, first thing I'd like to do is this information here is where you could edit this information. This is your editing form for customer and for locations. And then you click on here and boom, it shoots it over here, and then this becomes an editing form only for your order info. This info up here is just simply there for information purposes. You do not want to have the ability to edit those or enter into them. So I'm going to take the tab stops out of them immediately. So we're going to design view. Now remember, you can select multiple fields, text boxes at the same time, and you can change their properties at the same time if they have those in common. If they don't, then these won't show up here, but these happen to have the same property, so I can click all of those and choose no all at the same time. And so then what happens is when I click here, it automatically gets thrown down into the form in the first field. Okay, and just like the other form, we don't really want it to end up here. We want it to be over here where we start doing our editing if we were to do that. So we can automatically, I'm going to make it so we automatically create this and it throws it in there. Same thing that we did before. Go into design view. I'm going to click on order ID and we'll look at the event and we'll say when it gets focus. I'll build the code there, and for the most part we can probably just copy that from the other form, couldn't we? So we can say if me.newRecord, then let's create the order ID from the, so we say, so we're saying if the order ID, if it's a new record, if the order ID, go ahead and create that info for us, add 7 to it, then jump over to the order date just like we did in the last one. Just copy that down. Oh, that reminds me. If you do some code like we're doing, what I really recommend you do is to find a place to start putting your code in. I use OneNote, and let me just show you real quick is I use OneNote and I have all my different applications. And what I do is when I start doing code, and it's just been a lifesaver because I've done this before. I did this in Excel where I created this really cool code and I didn't use it for a while. Then I forgot what I did and the commands for it, and I didn't place it somewhere where I could find it very easily. So you have to go through this whole research thing again and go through kind of a learning curve. But if you can save it and categorize it, then you can just go back and copy it or and paste it in and then just adjust it, and it's so much quicker and easier. Now professional programmers, I understand they do register their code, they put it in places, and that way people in the whole corporation can use code that maybe they don't have to reinvent the wheel each time. But I would really recommend OneNote, and the reason for that is it automatically saves it. You can categorize it in 300 different ways, and it's a lot easier just to move around in here and get to information that you need. So that's that. I just remembered doing that and wanting to tell you about that. I recommend that. Okay, so we're going to say the same thing. When it gets focused, create it. If it's a new record, create the ID and then move over to the order date. Okay. So let's see if we did that successfully. So Come over here, we open it, boom, it automatically skipped all this information up here, skipped the order ID, and went right to order date. And what happens if we click in here? It does the same thing. So it automatically, we don't have these defaults put in there yet, but we can do that real quick. Okay, so now we got that worked out. So we click in there, automatically gets the new order ID, puts in the order date, which is today's date, adds 7 days to it. It automatically picks up the location ID because that's how it's related, and then puts in standard class for us, so we have that all working for us. Then we can simply, to go to the next, we want to see the orders or put in orders for a new order. We click on that, and boom, there it is. Now, whoa, why didn't it pick that up? This is an interesting scenario that I've ran into also. So I'm over here, right? And notice, see that little thing right there? That means it's not finished saving. I'm still in the edit mode. So one of the things that I needed to do was actually save this record. So, because if you're in there, let's say you clicked in there like we just did, we didn't change anything, we haven't left the record. So remember, it only posts the record when it leaves the last field on the record, and that's why I was able to stick that field in on the other form and not have it right. So what can I do? Well, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to see if I can actually have it save the record when I click this button. So it's going to be save the record, and then it should update. Let's see if that works. Okay, so we're going to do it here. We're going to do on click, and we're going to add it to there. So on click, we're going to add it to there. I just brought this over to show you how I'm using it. See, I have a page called Save Record, and I have a couple different ways to do it. I chosen this way as being my favorite because it makes most sense to me, and I need to learn a little bit more about the dirty. I understand the concept, but it hasn't worked for me the way I thought it would. And this one here just says, hey, just do it. Don't evaluate, just do it. Every time you leave a record, just go ahead and save it. So it says do command, run command, AC command, save record. Boom, easy as that. So we'll copy that, and we'll come over into our VBA, and in that button, what it's going to do actually is when I click it, I want, before I even get to the open form, is I want to save that record. And then we can open the form, because then that data should be there for this to pick it up. So let's see. Alright, we'll save it, go to form view, and so we're in this one right here. See the editing, and let's even change the date so that we know that it's been changed and it's editing. So now I'm going to click on here, and look at that, it did pick up all that information automatically because it saved it for us. And that was an issue at first too, is that I was flipping off these records and they weren't updating. So how did I do that? And I realized that the record needed to be saved, and it only does it after you leave the record. So there we go. There's a little cool hint to being able to save a record. So you can do that on anything. For example, we could have done it as soon as we typed in the could have done it on Get Focus here and automatically have it save it here, or we can just do it, but the idea is do it before you leave the form. You have to save that record. Just wanted to show you something. I was just putting in all the IDs here so that we can run through the gauntlet of that real quick, but just wanted to show you have the same issue here, is that I created the location ID, it throws it over to the city, and let's say for whatever reason we're going to put that info in later. Let's just get the order in, right? So then we click there, and that information doesn't come up, and the reason for that is because it hasn't saved that record. See the little pencil there, it's saying no, this is still in edit mode, so we need to save that record. And so we can do that with a button over here, the same as we did before. Is we'll just go to design view, click on the little button, and so when it gets clicked, we're going to go ahead and say, hey, you know what, before you do anything, let's just do the save record, and I'm going to copy from my OneNote section and bring that over and place it right in there. So it says before you do anything, go ahead and save that record before you leave, and then we'll take care of that. So then when I come back over to Access, and we'll save it, go back to Form View, and whatever. I don't know why I did that. Okay, so there we are. So we have the edit mode here. I'm going to click open it, but it saved it and automatically brought it in. That way we can have that data and it works well for us. So let's see if this works. So if that save works, so I typed in a city name here, nothing else, and then I'm going to click here, and what the goal is that this city name should show up in the record on the other side. So we're going to click open, and boom, it does. So you can see that it does work successfully. And let's type in another, and notice again we're not off the record, but as soon as we click here, it does bring it in. So you can see that that save record works real well. So we should have this pretty much working now. So I'm going to walk through here. It goes through each one. Notice that it does show up on the button here that we've created, so that when we click on it or even hit enter, as soon as it gets focused you can hit enter, it goes to the next form. And if it's a brand new record, it'll create the order ID for us, but it jumps us over to order date, and then we can tab over there, and if we want to see the details of that order, and hit enter, and it pulls it up for us, and we're ready to go. We can also create a brand new customer, and we found that if we create the customer name, it automatically does that for us. And when we come down here, it creates John Jacobs for us, and there we go. It automatically creates the new location ID when we exit there, and then we can go ahead and give it a city. And now at this point we can open up the order info, because now we've created a new customer. They want to order something. Hit enter. It automatically brings in the new customer info, creates a new order for us, puts us on the order date field so that we can fill in that. And if we're happy with this, then we go ahead and click on this without saving. Remember, it's still in the edit mode over here. It has to be that little triangle if it's been posted, and we'll click on there, and then we jump right into here. We create a row ID for the order, and we can start typing in products right away. And there we go, we're off and running. Other controls you can put in there. One of the things that we'll do in another video is we'll talk about controls, and that's around fields that we do not want to leave empty. For example, we can leave this field empty. Any field, we can't leave the primary key empty because it's going to give us an error by default. The system's going to give us an error. So we, in a sense, have to put in the customer name, but they don't know that. They'll just say that you can't post the record and move on because you can't post it with an empty field in the customer ID. But we can do something that forces that or shows that. You can put in controls around saying, hey, if any of these fields are left empty, warn them and tell them and put them back into that field. The same thing with other things here is that you don't want to leave data that's not filled in correctly or all the way, so that otherwise you get incomplete data, and you want to put controls around that just to make sure that your data is good and complete. And the same thing here, for example, you may want to, if the order date, for example, if they're going to type in the order date, and let's say they type in date that's in the future, you can't have an order date that's in the future or something like that. just little things that you can do. And like I said, is that what you want to do is you want to go through this and refine it as you go. As you find issues and things like that, you want to be able to refine those. And so that's what we're going to do, is we're going to be looking at this and saying, okay, what can we do to make this even better and easier to use? Now remember that if you're the maintenance person, and that's my viewpoint, is that you're the maintenance person, you're the entrepreneur, you're the self-employed person trying to create a way of keeping track of your customers, your data, your sales, whatever it is, your inventory, and you need to keep it as simple as possible. That you want to make this as simple as possible because of update. If you get issues and things like that, you don't want to spend a lot of time debugging. You want to keep it as simple as possible. Well, that's for it in this series. We've gone through a bit in these 4 parts. In part 1, we looked at a single form with multiple subforms and the issues and solutions with it. In part 2, we looked at a single form, putting in controls around the navigation data input to make the single form easier to use. Then we looked at being able to create multiple forms and linking them together with relevant data. And then in the 4th part, this one that we just covered, we developed flow controls and data input controls, again, to make data easier to input, more accurate, and easier to navigate. Well, appreciate you guys all being here. I hope you'll just take a minute to like, subscribe, and leave me a comment about the contents and things that you think I can do better, things that you'd like to see, or just to say a hello. Anyway, appreciate you being here. We'll see you on the next video.